Yeah. I'm not gonna lie,
The one thing I do want to mention is that there is only one female GM left in Major League Pickleball. 22 teams, one female GM. There is 0 people that are on the executive team at UPA that are female. There is Ann Worcester. Again, I don't know her exact title. She might be the only one. But, there's no females on committees. This is something that needs to change in pickleball because everyone always wants to highlight that it is an equal playing field for females and males in the sport of pickleball. And it is on the player side. Females and males get paid the same. I believe on the sponsorship side, that's also true. But we really need to help elevate females in pickleball. And I'm going to try to do the best that I can with my podcast and with my brand in the future of that, because I think there are a lot of eligible women out there and they need to get access.
We talked about, you mentioned very few females in leadership positions. A, why do you think that is? And then B, what do we do to fix it? Is it something that needs fixing? Meaning, like, is there something going on that's dissuading people from these positions? Like, what's your whole take on this?
I mean, at the end of the day, like, if you look across all major companies, like, it was always the man's world, right? It's always been that way. But I do think, the answer to your question is there's a lot more male owners than female owners in all of sports. This isn't just pickleball. In this sport, we have the luxury, or not even luxury. It's done right. They pay females and males equally. It's done like that in tennis. I came up in soccer where that was not the case to start, and the U.S. women's national team had to fight for that, and NWSL, same thing. But I think the difference is really just giving people opportunity. I know that, when I was the GM and everyone was like, why do you deserve to be the GM? What did you do in pickleball? What do you know in pickleball? Look at the other GMs. There are so many that have the same exact background that are males that are not being asked these same questions. And I am always like, look at this person, look at that person. They haven't done anything in pickleball. They don't know. First of all, I believe that I have watched more pickleball than 99% of these GMs in the last, 3 years, whatever it's been. I am obsessed. So maybe that's an answer. You don't just have to be an ex-pro player that played 4 years ago to be a GM these days. Also, pickleball is so new that everyone's new in the sport. There's no one that's been playing it for 20 years that has this deep, dedicated background. All of these pros that played it, majority of them started in the last 5 years. So no one knows the sport. This sport is going to be ever changing, ever evolving. So yeah, I just think it's really giving people the opportunities. There's no reason that somebody, can't be just as good of a GM as a person that's a random male that was chosen for whatever reason. Same thing as a COO. There's definitely women that could be coaches out there. Maggie Raminski is one of them. Caroline Penner is like Ryan Dawajen's fiance that like has done so much. She's worked at Google. She worked at Dyson. She's done like a lot in building brands and creating like, how you speak about yourself as a brand. She's a great person that should be in the sport. There are so many, like Jane, I forget her last name, Jane Holohan. She works at Pickle Pop in California. Like, she is obsessed with the sport, knows it detail by detail, and she's got a great gig at Pickle Pop. I don't think she wants to leave, but like, it's another female. There are a lot of females that deserve opportunities, and I think it's just, giving it to them. There's no reason why, there shouldn't be a female on a committee. Why is there not a female on a committee? These men are not smarter than the females, and they're just not given the same opportunities. I think, there was a time where there was an event in Long Island, New York for all of MLP owners, and literally me, Callie, and Kim weren't invited. And I was like, why is that? And it's just like, oh, we forgot, or, there's all these whatever, but it was all the males. So I just think it's like, it's built into them. It's what they like to do, but it's not got like, we know how to play pickleball. We can be invited to these events. We can do these things. They like to bet a lot. They bet like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on pickleball games. Like, just because we don't like to bet or we don't want to doesn't mean we shouldn't be involved in these things. So I don't know. I just think creating the opportunities, giving people the chance. And by the way, the league has been phenomenal to me. Like, maybe one day I'll work at the league, but like, I just think giving more women opportunities to be a part of the sport is big. And women have to also speak up, say they want the opportunities. I think a lot of men in general tend to speak up more. They speak higher of themselves, like, oh, I can get that team's sponsorship deals, and like, they're just over exaggerating their abilities, and like, women don't tend to do that enough. And so, yeah, women should feel confident in themselves, and also network, communicate, tell people that they want those positions, and they should be open to hearing them.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's interesting. It also seems to me like maybe it's Austin, maybe it's just where I've been. It seems like this sport also, maybe I'm wrong here, but this sport seems to grip and make guys lose their shit. Like, I do see more complete court junkies. I'd say it's 7 out of 10 of those people I think are men. There's something about this sport. I don't know. I would love for your opinion on that. To me, it seems to me like the men are more just like, I will drop everything, move across the country, divorce my wife, like everything for this game. Like, that's a legitimate thing. I know men who have ruined marriages with children, like, because they cannot like compartmentalize or just get away from this sport. So I'm not disagreeing with anything that you said. I'm just curious, do you see the same thing? Do you think that could potentially be part of it?
Yeah, I mean, I think in general, men are just like riskier. I think like women, especially at like later ages in life, have more to think about in terms of like, they have to have a family, or like, your child rearing years are only like up until 40 basically. So there's more. I feel like women are less likely to take big risks as they get later in life. That could be an overgeneralization, obviously. But again, like, just because women have to have kids and like maybe can't move doesn't like shouldn't limit their abilities. I think it's very important to have different voices in rooms. Women bring a completely different aspect. Like, our brains work differently, and I think it's healthy to have disagreement. I think the worst leader is somebody that thinks they know it all, and that thinks like they don't want somebody in the room to challenge them and to question their decision making. You want people that push back, that think differently. And I think, having a room full of white males, you're just not going to get that. And like, coming from like the similar backgrounds. So I think, yeah, I've seen it. I worked on Wall Street. Trust me, I've seen it there. I've seen it in soccer and the NWSL. I've seen it in many different forms over the years, and it's just something that I've noticed. There's, like I said, there's Casey Brown. She created the Necker Island Pickleball Forum. Shauna Wilson. She works at Break the Love. Like, there's so many badass women, and I'm trying to figure out like how to gather all of these smart, driven, intellectual women that also love pickleball and like get their brains. Jamie Schmidt's another one. She's an owner of the LA Mad Drop. She created oh god, Schmidt's natural deodorant. It was bought out by Unilever for like an insane amount, and now she's an investor with her husband Chris, and they bought part of the team, part of the league, and she like loves pickleball. Like, that's another woman that should be involved deeper in the sport. So they're
Yeah,
out
I don't
there.
disagree. I think even though men are it seems like typically more obsessive, it's still, even if it's only 7 out of 10 people are men. Currently, leadership is 99 out of 100 men. So
Yeah.
I do think that there's probably a tendency towards men being more obsessive with this, but also it's still disproportionate. And so, would you
Yeah.
consider, like, are you a resource for somebody who wants to become, for a female pickleball player, or somebody that just wants to be involved in deeper levels with pickleball? Because I think that's a pretty solid idea to sort of have a female networking pickleball group. That could be a solid angle there.
Yeah, for sure. Please use me as a resource. DM me. You can email me. I want people that are like dedicated, right? I don't want like someone, so many people reach out to me trying to get involved in pickleball, and I want people that really love it, that really want to get involved. But look, I have, just like Zane, I mean, I think what's unique about, my position in pickleball and why I wanted to create my own podcast is because I have people at the top making all the decisions, to the Discord junkies that are just obsessed. And so if there's somebody that somebody needs to get in touch with, like, I can definitely be used as that sort of resource.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, dollar has gonna yagi.